Hello there survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today we're building this starter hut for your day 1 exploration, or maybe day 2 or 3, depending on the raids of course and the speed at which you gather things. This is designed as an early game base where you can quickly have all that you need. Enough space for your storage, for your crafting, and even for your tames, so that you don't have to worry about too much else and you can just get going with ARK. And you have a place to hide for if you're getting killed too many times, or maybe you just get ARKed too many times. There's two options for this build. Of course, you can skin it as I have done right here, but when we build it first, we'll do it without skins to give you a second option. Which is especially nice, of course, if you do not own the Bob Talltales DLC yet. You can still, of course, have a very nice looking base without them. As always, if you enjoy these build tutorials and you want to see more, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave suggestions for future builds down in the comments below. And let's get into the building. And as with most builds, we're going to start with the foundation, and we're going to start with a triangle circle like this, so nice and easy. And then we want to expand this circle by adding in the full foundations on the outside and filling in the gaps once again with our triangles to make a slightly bigger circle. Then we're going to add in triangles to the end of the normal foundations as well to once again expand this circle by one more layer all the way around. Then we should be able to fill in the remaining gaps with full foundations, and then only at these parts we're going to expand the circle once more with the full foundation, so next to the triangles. And this kind of cogwheel shape is the basis for our build. Then you kind of need to pick which sides you want to use as your entrances. For example, this side, and then the opposite side will be the other entrance. Over here, we're going to place down the gate. I like to flip them around so they stick out a little bit more. And of course, we want to make sure that we actually add in the gate to this as well. And then we can add in stairs right in front of the gate. And we want to add in some railings just as a little bit of extra decoration. And that's going to be one of our two entrances. Then we're going to add in some windows in these bits in between our expansions. So all the way around, we're going to be adding in some windows in these in-between parts like so. And of course, we can add in the doors to these as well, so that we already have our little windows in there. And we do that for all of these. We're gonna skin them so you can leave them closed for now. We're gonna take 2 full walls and place them on top of this, so 4 in total, and we're gonna do that for all the endings here. As you can see, I prefer to flip around the walls. I just like the look of that a little bit better, but of course, that's personal taste and preference. And if you're gonna use skins, you might not want to do this anyway, but yeah, I kind of like the way this looks. Then here next to the entrance, we want to make sure that we go up 3 high, just to kind of fill in the walls right next to this gate that we've got going on. And then here on the opposite side from that gate, we actually want to remove the top layer here. This is where we're going to add in some more stairs until the ground. We can also, of course, adding on railings again to make the stairs a little bit safer. And this is going to be the second entrance to our build. So that is going to be slightly different from the other ones. Here on the sides, we can actually go up and take the roofs. Take the walls up by 3 in total, just to kind of mirror the other side that we've got going on. Then over here, we want to add in some nice wooden quarter walls right on the corners. The first variation, switching to the second variation for the one on top. And then we can add a double doorway right in the middle here. And above, we can have 2 normal walls just like this. And of course, we can add in the door as well. That's going to be our second entrance. Then we can start filling in the walls of these side bits. For now, we only want to add 1 wall to each of these sections. So just like this, just adding the 1 singular wall on all of these sides until we've gone all the way around. We'll take out a window and place those right above those walls we've just placed. So on the sides of these little additions to a circle, just like that. Then we can take out our slope walls and we can add those on top of here to kind of make these go back into the main building, just like that, all the way around, doing the same thing. And then we can also raise up these walls to be the same height for now. So we're kind of going to make the whole circle the same height, so we got all the walls at the right height for now. There we go, all the way around. Then of course we can take out our windows again, and once again we can start adding them into the window frames that we've just placed. We're gonna skin these so that we can actually see through them if we have the frontier skin. Otherwise you can of course just open them up, but I would add in the little shutter just for extra detail. And then we can take out the thatched roofs, just because there's a little bit of cheaper materials and it shouldn't matter too much for a starter build. We're going to add those here on these side portions of our build to close off these little roofs. And if you want for some extra details, you can have some extra railings sticking out from the roofs as a little bit of an overhang on the outside, just to kind of, add those little details in there. But this is optional, of course, if you don't want to waste the extra materials. Feel free to leave these out for sure. Then we can take out our thatched roofs once again, and we can add in a little roof here above the entrance of the gateway, just like this, making them overhang a little bit, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then here on the other side, we're going to be doing the exact same thing above the entrance. We're going to add in this little roof. And then of course we can also fill in these slope walls just to make sure that this whole region is completely filled in and walled off. Then we can take out our ceilings and we can start by adding in 2 ceilings to all these little outlets that we've built, just going all the way around like this. And then also we want to place 2 over here, 1 over there, 1 over there, but leave the last ones out. Then we can take our triangle ceilings and we can start to fill in the gaps in between, going all the way around until we reach this last little space. That's all we're going to do. We're going to take out our thin pillars and we're going to add them in all these bits as nice extra supports for the ceilings that we've just placed. We're also going to add in a stair right over here, and then we can also start adding in the railings to make sure you just don't keep falling down your little raised bit. And this means that we have a lot more extra space to work with, because you can do things down here, but you also have another layer where you could add some more. Then we want to take out our walls again, and we want to actually raise up these bits in between with 1 more wall all the way around. We'll take out our ladders and we'll add ladders all the way up over here and on the opposite side as well, all the way to the top. And then we can take out our wooden beams and we can add them along the roof. Also, we can add them right in here. Just don't add them behind the ladder, because that will interfere with your ability of actually climbing up to the top. So for now, we'll have this little round of our beams. This also means that we can now fill in these walls. If you do not have the frontier skin, you just want to make normal windows out of these. But we're going to change the skin to be the frontier windows, so we have some big windows instead. So for now, we'll fill this all in. These parts in between, of course, we want to use the slope walls to make sure that this shape keeps going all the way around, like so. And then we can take out our full wood ceilings. We can add 1 over here. We'll add 2 right here in between. We'll have 1 over here, 1 over there, and 1 over here. And of course, 2 in between there as well. And then we should be able to go around with our triangle ceilings filling this in. We also want to make sure to add them here at the end of everything. And of course, fill all these gaps in with the triangles wherever we can. Then we can take out our full ceilings once more and go around like this to fill in those little gaps. Once again, switching to our triangles, filling in the remaining bits and the middle bit to make this floor complete. We want to change to the quarter ceilings instead. We can add 2 of them over here and 2 of them over here as well, just to make this gap a little bit smaller and utilize the space here, as well as just making sure that if you drop off the ladder, you actually end up on this floor. Now it's time to take out our wooden pillars, and what I like to do is go around all these corners and making sure we add some pillars in all the way to the bottom. So we want to do that here as well, making sure that we add all of them in, basically on every corner of the building, connecting them from below all the way up to the top, like so, just to add in those extra details, extra supports technically as well, of course, but mostly just because it looks really nice having all these pillars around. So yeah, we're just going to go all the way around, making sure that we add in these extra supports wherever we find a corner in the building. Now that we've got the whole height of the walls that we will be building, we can do it all in one go, which makes it, in my opinion, a little bit easier because you don't have to keep changing back and forth between different structures. So yeah, we'll add in these pillars all the way around. There we go. Just like that. This is the last one. And there we go. We should have pillars all the way around in every corner of the build. Then we can take out a wooden scaffolding if you do have the Bob Tall Tales DLC, and you can add them here as supports. If you do not have that DLC, you can also just use a wood sloped wall to get a similar effect. But yeah, I like these scaffoldings a little bit more, and they're kind of made for these kind of things, of course. Just makes it look a whole lot more supported. Then it's time to start on the roof, and we're actually going to start in these corners by adding in our full thatch roofs and just going around like this. Again, I like to do just one type first because it's a little easier with the placement, and then the gaps in between we'll be able to fill in with our thatch triangle roofs, just going all the way around once more to create a nice round shape like this. Then of course we can continue to the next layer, adding in the triangles to the normal roofs to continue the shape that we've just started. So just like this, we'll get them all the way up, and then we can fill in the remaining gaps with the normal roofs all the way around. And then we have one more layer of our triangles to finish off this roof and get a nice pointy end to the build. And if you do not want to skin any of the build, this is kind of what you end up with, but there's a few changes with the skins that we can make to the build that will make it look a little bit nicer. But maybe you prefer the more thatch and wooden look, you can definitely do it. The only thing I would change, of course, then would be normal windows right here. The first thing that I would do is personally would be all the foundations and all the ceilings I would be changing to the Frontier wooden structures. I prefer the look, but I'll leave that up to you. And I would also change all the pillars to the Frontier skins. And definitely, of course, all of your windows, because, well, it actually turns them into windows, which I think looks a lot nicer than just having the little shutters open instead. So yeah, I would go around changing all these to the nice Frontier window skin, changing the pillars to the Frontier wood skin, and of course changing these to some bigger windows to get in plenty of light to the top floor of the build as well. I'm not going to skin all the other things, but yeah, you know, all the pillars and all the foundations and ceilings is what I would change to the wood variant. Then we got the steampunk skin. I would change at least these, and then you might as well do the fences or the railings here as well if you added those. So these roofs we want to change to be the steampunk one here as well. Same thing right there and right here. Of course, the same thing once more. Then these roofs on the doors I would change to the Frontier one just for the little bit of variation. So we'll change these to the nice Frontier skins instead. Then we'll take out those steampunk ones again for the roof here on top, and we can just skin this. Of course, this would be personal preference, and also, of course, depending on whether you do have the Bob Tall Tales pack or not. But yeah, you can skin the entire thing just to kind of transform the look. That's why it also doesn't really matter what you build the top layers of, the roof of, because we'll change them to these anyway. And what I would also personally do if you do change all these skins is at least the top layer here, I would also change to the frontier skins. The rest of the wooden walls I would actually keep like normal, but at least the top layer I would completely turn into the frontier skin. And then what I would do is change the variance to be the window 1. Normally you have to do this by hand, but there's also the variant cycle gun. Variant cycle, if you search for that mod, it will be there. It's a proper mod, so you do need to have this installed if you're playing on a server. You can't just install it just yourself, but this just saves you a lot of time switching these variants. And I would do all these roofs with some windows just to get that little bit of extra light into your inside building. And you can actually go all the way for these as well, just to make sure that you've got some extra light and a little bit of extra details around on your roof. So this is what the fully skinned version would look like. I even added a lantern on the top as a little bit of a peak to the tower. So yeah, this is a potential version of the base, but totally up to your preference. If you want to skin more, if you maybe want to give it some paint, or of course, if you just want to leave it completely default textures, or maybe you've got some other custom cosmetics that you want to apply to it. This little hut was designed to be kind of an early game base you can quite easily make early on, but still gives you pretty much everything you need to get you going and get you going for a little bit. As you can see, because of this gate, you can bring some of your tames in, even your flyer, and park them safely inside of your base. You've got plenty of space to do some of your smelting, your crafting, etc. We've got a little preserving bin here as well. Room for a generator, your water if you're close to a beach, your food you can hide under your staircase. Even a fabricator would fit inside. And of course, if you want to make some fertilizer at home, you can easily do that as well. Like, it's a really nice compact base where you can do a lot in a little bit of a smaller space. Yeah, and you can see even with some of the tames around, there's still plenty of space around. Yeah, and then of course we have the other entrance right here. If you're not entering by tame, your flyer you can even park inside. We got storage here. You could also of course place them sideways if you need even more storage. More storage here, crafting station here, the smithy. On the other side, we got the same thing, more crafting and storage over here. But yeah, nice and compact, but I think it's got some really cozy vibes this way. And then of course, we got the ladders where we can go all the way up into the top layer of the base. We got the bigger windows to enjoy your view a little bit. And then we've got some more space to just hang out, relax in front of the campfire. We got the beds, 2 beds I've placed down to respawn or to share with a tribe mate. And you could of course have your cryo fridge up here, and you can see there's some extra lights coming in from the top here. So yeah, it makes for a really nice and cozy base in my opinion, and definitely enough space to last you a little bit before you might need some more. Especially if you get more tames, of course, it's going to get a little bit more crowded in here. But I think it's a nice base that you could probably get off quite early on, maybe even day 1 to get you going. And yeah, should last you for a little bit at least. Nice and cozy starter base. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this build tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave your suggestions for future builds down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.